Hey guys, Kristen here. I am a platinum leader with Young Living. I've been with Young Living for about 8 years now. Huge blessing to my life. Cannot say enough about it. I'm so excited to be here with you all. I've got two girls. I've got an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old. I am a nurse by trade, and I am in Florida. So I am excited to be here with you. So I'm going to talk to you very quickly, by purpose, about how to share your story in under 2 minutes. And that seems like a pretty tall order because shortness is key here. Brevity is key. And I'm going to share with you how to do that and how to break that down. So get a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and get ready to take some notes because I'm going to show you the 4 parts of telling your story. So your story is probably your most valuable asset in your arsenal, believe it or not. You might have heard the term before, facts tell, stories sell. Well, this is no exception. You can rattle off a million statistics and all the cool science about how all the oils have all these therapeutic benefits and yada, yada, yada. But unless those actual benefits are attached to somebody's story, you're going to lose your people. It's that simple. People, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Their eyes are going to roll in the back of their head and you're going to lose them completely. So how to tell a good story? You want a before, a pivot, and an after, right? So think about the stories that you've heard in the past when you hear like a really good speaker and think about how they've shared their story. It usually has those 3 parts. And sometimes those parts come naturally when you're telling the story. Other times they do not. So this is definitely a skill that you're going to want to work on. You're going to want to hone. You're going to want to practice, and you're going to want to revise over time because your story may change. Your story may be different. You may have new stories. You're going to create a whole bunch of stories. Okay. So there's 4 parts to every story: your background, the things you didn't like about it, okay, the solution that you found and what it solved, and then how you feel about the future now, okay? So just to give you kind of an example, hi, my name is Kristen. I'm a nurse by trade, but I'm no longer working as a nurse. I was in the medical field because I wanted to help people get better. And it turned out, this is the pivot, things I didn't like about it, turned out I wasn't doing that, right? I was in the hospitals, pushing medications for people that were sick. We really weren't focusing on how to get people well. And I didn't like that about that. And as I emerged through my career, I moved up in the ranks, I got into administration, and then I had my first baby. And I remember going to work after maternity leave and going on my first business trip and nursing. I was nursing her at the time, and I remember pumping and dumping in the hotel room and bawling my eyes out because I could not be away from this sweet little baby anymore. It hurt my heart so much to be away from her. So I knew I needed to get out. I knew it needed to change. So the solution that I found, part 3, the solution that I found, I went into health and wellness coaching. And I learned that there were things that I was using in my home and on my body that were not contributing to wellness. So I started researching and doing what nurses do best is research and analyze everything. And I found these things called essential oils. And then I started researching them even more. And then I found this company called Young Living. And I found out that they were the world leader in essential oils. And they were the best out there. So I ordered my starter kit. I started using the oils in my home. My youngest, who was not sleeping, had a couple babies at the time. This is my second, was not sleeping. I started diffusing peace and calming. She started sleeping. It was a miracle. And I couldn't shut up about it. So I just told everyone I knew about it. Fast forward several years, I was able to leave my career as a nurse and do this full time. So now I'm really excited about the future because I can now help so many families change their lives one bottle at a time. Okay. Very high level story example. But my background, what I didn't like about it, the solution that I found and what did it solve, and how do I feel about the future, okay? So again, that was just an off-the-cuff story of mine, hopefully in under two minutes. I didn't time myself, but that can kind of give you an idea of the gist of it. So your background, what you didn't like about it, the solution you found, and what did it solve, and how do you feel about the future? So perhaps my story could resonate with, moms that are working in any field, and going back to work after you have your first baby and being so sad that you have to bring your baby to daycare or to leave them home with your mom or their grandparents or your husband or whatever. And what did I do? I wanted to help people, and I wanted to get out of this career that was sucking my life away, which is nursing. I have mad respect for nurses, by the way. Can't even imagine being a nurse in this day and age. So the other thing to consider is sometimes your story may not resonate with your prospect. So if I was telling that story to like a millennial that didn't have any kids and wasn't even thinking about a family, they'd be like, whatever, you know, crazy mom, hormones, right? So sometimes your story is not going to resonate with somebody. So that's the great thing is you can't, it's nothing personal, but you can use other people's stories to tell, to make a point, okay? So this is really magical because, you know, once you have a chance to get to know the person that you're speaking with and their wants, their needs, their desires, their fears, et cetera, you know, through forming, which either we've talked about or we're going to talk about, form, you know, family, occupation, recreation, and the messaging, you're going to know what their needs and their wants and their pain points are. So you'll be able to cater a story to help move them along in the direction of saying yes to, you know, Young Living, whether it's the business side of things or just the products themselves. So you can cater the story to any situation. And one of my favorite hacks is like if somebody asks you a question about something or other that you don't know the science behind, I don't know, all I know is insert story, okay? So that's a fun little way to kind of, you know, change up the conversation to, because it takes the pressure off of you because you don't have to be like, oh goodness, I don't know all the therapeutic constituents of lavender, but I do know that my friend started diffusing it and her baby started sleeping through the night. All I know is, okay, that's awesome. So little assignment coming out of this. Write your story using the framework that I had, that I just identified. The background, what did you like about it? The solution that you found, what did it solve? And then how do you feel about the future? Practice your story with your family, your friends, basically anyone that's going to listen, okay? And then the other thing is collect stories from other people. So that's where having like, remember those oily undergrounds or just talking with your team and getting other stories of things that work for other people. Make a little like notebook of different stories so that you can pull those stories out whenever you need them, whenever you're talking to somebody that may have a similar situation. And then of course, duplicate this. Teach your team how to speak in stories, not all the nerdy sciencey stuff that nobody really cares about. Hope that was helpful and I hope you guys are having a great day. Talk to you soon.